Monkey Island is a series I grew up with. In fact, The Secret of Monkey Island is a game I actually owned as a kid, and I remember using the CD-ROM to install the game on my dad's computer. So my brother and I could play the game together and enjoy the adventure as a mighty pirate. Since then, I have played just about every entry in the series, from the original to the Chuck's Revenge and on to Curse. I remember playing Escape, and at the time being blown away by the 3D graphics. Only to realize as I played it that everything about that game was awful, from the controls to the puzzles. But overall, Monkey Island as a series has amazing humor, great puzzles that were fun and made you think, but at the same time would not soft lock you out of beating the game to the point you felt you had to look up a guide. I'm looking at you, King's Quest. Anyways guys, what is up? It's Flux1085, and in this video I'm going to go over my overall thoughts on Return to Monkey Island, and we will see if I thought this was worth hunting for the secret once again, or if this is something that should have stayed buried in my nostalgia memories. Let's get into it. Okay guys, so just a warning, there will be some spoilers in this review, so if you haven't played the game yet and you don't want to have anything spoiled with you, maybe you shouldn't watch this video, but I am going to go kind of overall my thoughts of the story mode, the graphics, and everything. In order to do that, it's kind of hard not to have any spoilers, so I'll keep the first half of the video pretty spoiler free. Then when I start to go more in depth with it, I'll give you guys a warning, and if you want to click out the video, then feel more than welcome to. But anyways, let's get into just the graphics, the UI, and go over my thoughts of just general stuff like that. So let's check it out. Alright, so the graphics for Return to Monkey Island, I actually liked. I know it got a ton of bad feedback when the game was first revealed, to the point where they said they weren't going to talk about it until it came out. I never understood all the bad press it got. I was just like, whatever. I thought it looked fine. You know, it's different than the originals, and I'm okay with that. The originals came out like 25, 30 years ago. So, damn, I feel old. The fact that I played them as a kid, they came out that long ago. But anyways, yeah, I think they look great. It almost reminds me of when Wind Waker came out, and it was very cartoony and everything like that. And I thought that it just gave the game more character, and I think it does the same for this game. I think the graphics are amazing. I mean, not amazing, but the aesthetic, the atmosphere, all of them, they're great. I loved it. My only complaint about the graphics is once in a while they do like a tiny cutscene where they do a close-up, and the close-up almost looks like a Ren and Stimpy close-up, not a Monkey Island close-up. It is kind of hard to explain. I don't want to spoil any of that for you guys, if I could talk. But yeah, the close-up will sometimes like, here's a hot dog with flies on it and then someone eats it or something like that, and I'm like, that's disgusting. That's not Monkey Island. That's like Ren and Stimpy. I felt like that was totally out of place, but maybe I'm just a doofus or couldn't figure it out, or I felt like that part was off. The music, the sound, I think were really top-notch. The voice acting was amazing. You know, I have zero complaints. Dominic Armato came back to voice Guybrush Threepwood, and he did a fantastic job. He really brings the character to life and makes the humor stand out that much more. I would say the only character in the game they brought back that I felt like fell off was Stan. So they bring back Stan the salesman, and the character just feels off. The voice acting feels off, his dialogue feels off, his lines. I'm not even blaming the voice actor, I'm blaming, you know, even the writers. It almost feels like, the best way to describe it is, let's say you go to the store to buy like some Oreos, but they are sold out. So you have to buy the knockoff brand, you know, the grocery store brand of Oreos, or the Target brand or whatever. And you bring it home and you open it up and you eat them. Yeah, it tastes like it's supposed to be an Oreo and it looks like an Oreo, but you just know something's different. That's how this character is. I wouldn't say like, you know, he's a complete garbage character or version of the character in this one, but you could tell he feels like a knockoff version, or like a mock version. So that was my only complaint about the characters they brought back. Another one that's in the game, and I feel like the whole dynamic feels very off to me, was Guybrush and Elaine. their whole relationship in this game feels very different than the other ones, to the point where you knew her character and her voice actor, like, she does great, but when she interacts with her husband, you know, the doofus Guybrush, she's way too supportive, and it's almost like she's given up and she just like, oh, he's gonna run around and do whatever he wants. And it's almost like their marriage is just, she's tired of it. Not tired of it where she wants to leave, but tired of like trying to control him or argue with him. She's always just like, he's gonna do whatever he's gonna, I don't know, it just felt off. It felt, maybe it's because they're supposed to be older, but I felt like they could have done a lot more with that. And unfortunately, they dropped the ball on it. Or they went a direction that I didn't totally agree with. But overall, I'm going to say this game's worth playing, is worth buying for the asking price. If you like adventure games, you're going to enjoy it. If you like Monkey Island and the humor, it has plenty of that. I will say I am happy that they stuck to the original theme of the games instead of trying to... Too many games, they start to interject their politics into it or current events in today's world, and I'm happy this game didn't have it. Or if it does, either I'm so, you know, numb to it being a massive overload all the time that I didn't personally pick up on it too much or at all, or the game just doesn't have it. But either way, I'm very happy that that's not a part of this game. It's just a traditional Monkey Island experience, and I always love getting more Monkey Island, unless unfortunately it's another escape from Monkey Island. I will never play that game again. So now that that part's out of the reviews out of the way, let me kind of go more into the spoiler stuff of what I liked and did not like about the game. And if you guys want to click off the video, I give this game my recommendation. I think it's worth playing, you know, especially for just being like, what, 20 bucks. You know, if it was $60, I would say hell no, but for $20, the game is definitely worth it. So here's your spoiler warning. And if you want to click off the video, feel free. I won't take any offense at all. Alright, so you had the spoiler warning. Now that that crap's out of the way, let's actually get into the meat of the game. So I'm mainly going to talk about the story because let's be real, you know, the puzzles, like I said, they're very tame for this genre, which is totally fine. I already went into the graphics and everything. So the story is the overall, the main thing of this series. So let's just dive into it. So I already went over Elaine and Guybrush and their were dynamic that I did not really care for. It just felt off of the series. But let's go a bit further. So the game starts where you're playing as, you know, Guybrush, and it opens up where you go to Melee Island, and we get to see Melee Island and what has happened to it over the last couple of decades. And it basically is a constant battle of the new way versus the old way. Guybrush is older now, you know, he's all about the traditional ways of the pirates. He goes to the scum bar, and you're met with all these new faces and the new pirate leaders. So the new pirate leaders are all about, you know, naval battles, black magic instead of the voodoo magic, you know, that Guybrush and the old pirate leaders were all about, and all this stuff. And it's like they're not about even being pirates. It's like a new wave. They're about, you know, controlling the sea and all this nonsense. Whereas Guybrush just wants to get an expedition to go to Monkey Island and fight it out with LeChuck. And when he says this, they're just like, join LeChuck and go with him. Someone's already going to Monkey Island. And for me, it was just weird. They didn't even care about LeChuck, like he was a non-threat. They just like, oh, he's some old ghost, who cares? And it was very nonchalant. And that theme kind of continues throughout the story. You know, we're constantly reminded that Guybrush is older. Another instance of this, instead of holding his breath for 10 minutes, he has to hold it for 8, which is fine, but it's just one of these stories where we get it. Everyone's like, it's almost like we as gamers are constantly being told that we're older now and that things have changed, and we're like, the game is taking us along that journey. And if you play the originals like me, that's what it feels like. We're all kind of like, you know, the game is about a man in his midlife crisis, is what it feels like. He's a man in his midlife crisis, and he's going back to Monkey Island to solve the secret because he didn't do it when he was younger. And so yeah, we're playing Guybrush, and that's his only objective. He has tunnel vision. Nothing else matters but beating LeChuck, his old nemesis, and getting the secret of Monkey Island. You know, Elaine takes a backseat, his own wife. It's just him versus LeChuck, which is fine, but they build all this up. So many things are being built up in this game. You know, the new age versus the old age, Guybrush versus LeChuck. Who's gonna find the secret first? You know, black magic versus voodoo magic. But when the game ends, none of these things are solved. There's no final showdown. You know, the new pirate captains almost disappear off screen. And when Guybrush is finally gonna find LeChuck, he opens up a door and guess what? He's in a damn theme park. You know, and you have to end the game by turning off the lights. And LeChuck is just an animatronic prop, and it's like Guybrush, I guess it was his fantasy because he's supposed to be like the floor inspector, and it's all made up in his head. And it's like, bro, you know, Ron Gilbert did this shit ending in LeChuck's Revenge, and most fans did not like it at all. And then from my understanding, he did the same shit in Tumbleweed Park. So now he's doing it for a third time. We get it, you're trolling us and it's a shit ending. But you could have done this after the big showdown. And there was so many things being built up that just nothing came of it. Like throughout the game, even Elaine, she starts to like follow Guybrush's footsteps, and she sees that like everything he's touched, he's destroyed in his pursuit of the secret of Monkey Island. You know, along his quest, he's like destroyed people's lives. He's like ruined all these like sacred trees or monuments. He's completely destroying them, and he doesn't care because he only sees the secret. It's almost like the captain hunting Moby Dick, where he's destroyed his own life in pursuit of the great whale because that was his quest. And that's what Guybrush is doing, you know, his quest for the secret. And she finally catches up with him and she goes, "Are you sure it's worth it?" And he goes, "Yes." And then she goes, "Okay," and she goes along with it. There was no like, Guybrush, you're turning into LeChuck, you become you're terrorizing all these people, you're becoming what you originally fought in the first game. They just drop all that, and it's just like, okay, I guess she supports him, and it just felt shit. It was fucking garbage. And like I said, you go to Monkey Island and you're gonna have the final showdown, and you get the final puzzle, and you walk through the door ready for the big event, and you walk out into the theme park and you're just like, shit, this is gonna be a part 2 ending all over again, except for now it's the third time, the second time in this series. Bro, the joke's played out. It's not funny. It didn't work. You know, once is funny as not even funny, but once, okay, I get it as a troll attempt, but really, at this point, is this how you're gonna end all your games, where it's supposed to be like a joke and an ultimate troll, but it loses its luster because everyone sees it coming now because you've done it repeatedly? I don't know. And Guybrush turns off the light, and I don't know if that's supposed to be like a metaphor of, you know, the lights are shutting down on this journey on Monkey Island, or this nostalgia trip of, you know, the old school gamers, and they're turning off the lights, the show's over, and now the new wave could come into effect. I don't really know what it means. You could think about it all day long. It might be something super deep. I don't think so. I think it's just a shit ending. But yeah, the story, the ending, the climax, it really felt like it was rushed, which is, I don't know how, because from my understanding, they were not rushed to make this game. And I get it. I get that the secret can never be revealed, or if it ever is, it will never be what we thought it was in our heads, because there's going to be no magical secret that's going to change a fan's perspective of this game series. It's not that serious. But on the other hand, when Monkey Island originally ended and Guybrush ends up with the girl and he escapes and beats LeChuck, I never cared that I didn't find out the secret. I didn't care as a fan. So the fact that like Ron Gilbert is acting like we need to come back to have closure for the secret, I don't, even online, I've never really seen people care. that it was never solved. Their ending of the original, you had a showdown, you had an ending to the series, and it felt complete. When I beat the original game, I was like, that was so cool. I had such a great adventure. I didn't care that I got cheated out of the secret. So the fact that we're reopening it up just to once again not figure out what it is, or I mean, you kind of do, it's like something so stupid. I didn't care about that. I cared that we didn't have a conclusion of like Guybrush and Elaine and she sees what he's become. I cared that we didn't have a conclusion of, you know, Guybrush trying to keep the traditional ways of the pirates and he's being pushed out and the old pirate leaders have been pushed out and the new pirate leaders have taken over. None of that has any closure. They disappear off screen. Is retarded. And we'd almost see a showdown of LeChuck and Guybrush, you know, to the bitter end. It's like you're robbed of all that just to find out the secret might be in Guybrush's head or not his head. I don't know. It's just total nonsense. And then at the very end, Guybrush finished up telling the story to his son, because the game is basically Guybrush telling his son another story. And so it's sort of the Princess Bride dynamic. Yeah, go figure. So whatever, it's a story being told, so like that's why there might be some plot holes. And even the boys like, where's the conclusion? And Guybrush is like, oh well, there's not really a conclusion, it's more about the journey than the ending or some bullshit. It's like, bro, really? And anyways, after the son runs away, Elaine's like, Guybrush, I found another treasure map to this other island, let's go, implying that Guybrush and Elaine really did hunt treasure and it wasn't all in his head. So there's that little teaser, and it's like, bro, you know, I don't care anymore. I'm so sick of these troll endings, especially when it's been done repeatedly by the same guy in all his games. Just give us an ending. The secret of Monkey Island, we didn't find out the secret, but it had closure. You had the showdown and you beat it, and I think most people were happy with it. So the fact that we're reopening it up is total nonsense. But that's enough of me ranting. Like I said, I still enjoyed the game. It was just the ending really brought it down a couple of notches. You know, I don't understand coming back to, you know, you're coming back to you hated the sequels and you wanted to redo this and do your original thoughts, and then you just do another. It ended just like part 2. So what was the purpose of it? But yeah, I would love to hear what you guys think. I would love to hear what you think of this series overall. What was your favorite Monkey Island? I don't want to hear your least favorite because it's most likely Escape. No one liked that one. But yeah, drop a comment down below if you did enjoy the video. Please like and subscribe. If you made it this far, you're most likely new to the channel, because let's be real, I have maybe like 9 subscribers. So please like and subscribe. It'd mean a lot to me, and I'll catch you guys next time.